It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Jane Pauley.
That's Greta Gerwig opposite Natalie Portman in the 2016 film Jackie. With many other acting roles to her credit, Gerwig is stepping out now as the director of the Golden Globe-nominated film Ladybird. This morning, she's answering questions from our Tony DeCopel.
This is quite the scene here.
It is the scene.
What's going to happen when Greta Gerwig walks in?
Nothing. Nothing will happen.
In her hometown of Sacramento, Greta Gerwig doesn't yet get mobbed in public.
Can I have an name for your latte?
Greta.
Can you spell that for me?
Greta. This is almost like Central Perk from Friends.
Until this year, the 34-year-old was probably best known as an actor.
Did you do that?
No, that's my niece.
With roles opposite Ben Stiller,
She's 4.
Annette Bening,
And do we really need to know everything that's going on with you?
What? I'm menstruating. Why is that a big deal?
and Natalie Portman.
But the cameras, those pictures are being broadcast to every corner of the world.
Those pictures should record the truth.
But now she's written and directed Ladybird, starring Saoirse Ronan, a movie praised as perfect by some critics and celebrated as the best-reviewed movie of all time on the sometimes surly film website Rotten Tomatoes.
I like your band. With Jonah Ruiz, Len Fance-New.
No, Fonson.
My name's Ladybird.
It's weird you shake hands.
Yeah.
I don't typically read reviews while it's going on.
You must be aware.
I'm aware. I'm definitely aware.
That people are using some pretty dramatic language.
I'm very aware.
You should just go to City College. You know, with your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail and then back to City College, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
Ronan plays an artsy Sacramento teenager, much as Gerwig once was.
You remembered.
You're my only daughter.
But don't mistake Ladybird for an autobiography.
Why do you think it bothers you when people assume that it is?
Because I spent so long writing it, and I worked so hard on the script to get it just right, and I don't like the implication that it's not an act of imagination, because it is 100% an act of imagination.
You could say Gerwig's first role was as a pint-sized director.
When I was 5 years old, I tried to organize everybody in my kindergarten to do a production of Starlight Express.
With support from her parents, she went on to pursue ballet, theater, and playwriting. But when it came to college, well...
I've been rejected from every formal training program I've ever applied to. I remember at the UCLA audition, they didn't even look at me. And I thought, that can't be a good sign. They don't let people in that they don't look at.
Gerwig found her way to New York City's Barnard College instead, and into a hazy, improvisational film movement known as mumblecore.
Like you're saying things that he said, like
No, I really came to these thoughts on my own. It's not just because Paul said them to me.
These days, she bristles at the very word.
I hate the word. I hate the word mumblecore.
Didn't feel like a compliment to be
Did
the
not
Meryl
feel
Streep
like
of mumblecore?
No, it felt not like a compliment. But
And yet,
what was wonderful about it was it allowed me to understand how films are built, because we were doing everything. Everybody was doing everything.
You held the boom.
Yeah, of course, I held the boom.
You're tall.
I'm so tall. I've got really long arms and I'm sturdy.
for years, Gerwig focused on acting, but used her time to study the work of her directors. Among them Woody Allen, Rebecca Miller, and her now fiance, Noah Baumbach.
And he said, do you have any ideas? And it was one of those like, funny you should ask moments. And it was like, here's my tome.
Together, they wrote 2 movies with starring roles for Gerwig. But Ladybird is the first film she's written and directed alone.
Was it widely known that you were working on this in the film industry?
No. I tried to keep it kind of, not under wraps, but I feel like movies are delicate and I don't like to talk about them too much until I'm actually making it. I guess I'm self-conscious about saying like, I got a movie I'm working on that I'm gonna direct. And then when we come to this, where she's here and here.
Gerwig's silence was also a kind of strategy.
I realized pretty young that being quite ambitious was considered unattractive in a girl. And I remember when I was around 7th grade, 8th grade, it clicked in. And I remember consciously thinking, oh, people don't like this.
So is that sad, that memory? Or that realization?
It is now. At the time, it felt like survivalism. And I remember I had an acting teacher who was watching me when I was in college, and he was like, you're doing something, but you have a trick, and I will figure it out. And he finally said, I got it. I know what you're doing. You're pretending to be vulnerable, but it's hiding your total ambition. And I was like, oh my God, he's right.
On a recent morning, Gerwig's ambition was to show us around her old neighborhood in Sacramento.
Do you feel like you were unfair to the town as a kid?
Definitely. I also feel like perhaps I should move back.
Really?
And in Ladybird, Gerwig hoped to capture her hometown's underappreciated beauty.
Collapse like a little closer.
And tell a classic coming-of-age story from a perhaps not-so-classic perspective.
Follow Serge. Lucas, get up. Follow her.
Why didn't you just say pick up your feet?
I didn't know if you were
You
tired.
were being passive-aggressive.
No, I
You are
wasn't.
so infuriating.
Please stop yelling.
I'm not yelling.
There are great movies about women and there's great movies about mothers and daughters, but there's not as many as there are about men. That's just statistically true.
I love it.
And here's another statistic.
Is it too pink?
In 89 years, only one woman, Kathryn Bigelow, has won an Oscar for Best Director.
What pisses me off any given year is that I can think of 5 films directed by a woman that deserve to be there, that deserve to be talked about like that. Every year I can tell you the women where I'm like, why aren't they there?
No matter what happens on Oscar night this year, Gerwig plans to direct again.
It's the best feeling in the world. It's the best. It's my favorite, hands down.
But she still likes to keep her work a secret, even now that her ambition is no secret anymore.
I guess all that's over.
Yeah, all that's over.
You're never going to surprise someone again.
No, I can kind of just, I can be the maniac I am openly.